Cybernation Uncensored.
Hello, everyone. Been a while in the new year for another Tales from Forlorn Dopes. I am your host, Cybersmiley.
Greetings, programs. I am your co-host, Wisdom. Yeah, we've been gone for the winter break, but it is a new year and we are back. Before we today, we're going to be doing we're going to be diving into the latest product from Cyberpunk Red, the solo play rules. I keep saying that, but that's not what it's called. It's called single player rules. Haha. But before that, let's talk real briefly about the stuff that's happened in our absence since we've been gone. On the official front, we got the 12 Days of Vehicleness DLC from Artal Saurian for Cyberpunk Red.
Yeah.
And it is a great boon to any nomads out there or anybody who's driving a car. It's all 2020 vehicles, updated to red, of course. But it's really nice to see the old art.
Yeah. It's a lot cheaper, I'm sure, for the crew to use it.
Yeah.
Plus, with Dolan's image on the front.
Oh yeah, the cover's very cool. It's
part again.
Yeah, she's really getting good. Cyber Santa here is menacing and cool, and I don't know, he's pretty badass.
Most definitely. Other than that, there was some news from PAX Unplug of current state of things for Arthur Saurian. I know Night City is kind of getting the final touches to it, so that hopefully will be out soon. Still expecting it. I was hoping it came out last year, but things changed and got some quick wins, and I'm sure it takes a while. Yeah. The other thing is, I guess, Fossilized Violence is going to be coming out from Altar Saurian, which sounds interesting. I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, it's part of Artal Saurian branching out with new products from new creators.
And Art Break was good. Edgerunner HQ. Get into too much of it, but able to relax a little. And so there's that. Also, the big news that just came out last week, affiliates link. So content creators can start basically earning a commission for the various products for Altar Saurian. So that is offer. I know a lot of companies offer it. That they're going through their store as opposed to going to bigger conglomerates or mega corporations. Having mega corporations dole out what little cash they want.
Yeah. piece by piece.
Yep. Um, Other things going on is today there was a big um, play testing with the CD Project Red team for the new card game, um, Legends of Night City. It's 7, the collectible card game. I believe it's what it's called, or it's
Yeah,
called
I don't know
No,
much about this one.
it looks like it's going to be called Cyberpunk TCG.
Yeah, this is not the Cyberpunk franchise game from our interview towards the end of last year.
Yeah, James Port
This
now
is
in the Night City or not the Night Crew games.
yeah, this is a CDPR Red sponsored Cyberpunk 2077 based card game. So you have two choices for your card playing pleasure.
Yeah, and it definitely uses a different mechanic. I was able to catch a little bit of it from the stream. I think they streamed today or yesterday. But I definitely want to see the whole stream and see how the action plays out. Uh, Other products that are associated with Cyberpunk is Monster Fight Club says that they're going to be pushing out the vehicles Kickstarter soon. So I might get my grubby little hands on some little motorcycles and a AV soon. I hope.
Those are so pretty.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be that they'll have them. I'll have them in my hands before Adepticon, which I am going to here again, playing
Oh,
in tournaments there. I'm also going to be running some Cyberpunk Red at that con too. No, it's a wargaming con. They do have tabletop role playing events there, so. And of course, Monster Fight Club has all expansion packs, so they've gotten pretty much all of the full body conversions as miniatures. They're also put out a expansion pack for citizens of Night City, so it's just regular mooks that are cross your path while you're having a gang warfare and destroying Night City.
oh yeah.
That, those figures actually would be very helpful for any of the Cyberpunk tabletop games. Just listen. Then there is. I haven't heard too much news for the other Cyberpunk board game that is still being. And I know the pledge manager is done, but I think they are said they're going to be shipping stuff soon because I think they finally settled on everything. All the products and all the proofs have been completed, and they'll be hopefully start delivering this year by mid-year for those who backed that company, which I did, but I didn't go the full pledge because it
I
just
think you
got
need one more pull in there.
yeah, it got into a little too much money.
It's
I
I
was
couldn't do it at all. It's too expensive.
I was happy to do the full version, not the full version of
Yeah, yeah.
it. So yeah, we got a lot of Cyberpunk products coming out this year. So as for other medias, I know Dark Horse has put out or is putting out a new series for 2077.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, damn it. Why am I so bad with names today? Good Lord. I am just awful, apparently.
You're not awful. Uh, no, no, they announced a new series.
I do too, and I cannot remember the name of it because my brain has stopped functioning.
Cyberpunk 2077 Chrome, a dark comedy horror set in the world of
That
Cyberpunk,
sounds like it. Yeah.
is available now.
Oh, I need to get to the store then because
So,
I have missed it.
Chrome was published on January 14th, just last week. So,
Yeah, 7 days ago.
um, definitely want to check it out. Oh, yes. Edge be coming out soon, and there's going to be a section military gear. Just um, that no. Yeah. So,
Why aren't you going to say who?
well, I don't know. I don't need to divulge it. At
Okay.
least it's to say that old book that not a lot of people have anymore. Which
Okay.
he probably would have picked you, and if he didn't hit me first.
No.
Because of your library of goodies.
I do have it all.
Some of which you do not. Yeah, so that's all kind of like the core cyberpunk stuff. They are also CD Projekt Red said that they're probably going to be coming out the new cyberpunk in 2030 or 2031. Some people doubt. I kind of think that
It seems pretty soon.
I think, well, number one, they didn't have to pivot as soon as they got Keanu Reeves and had to re-engineer the whole game and storyline.
We don't know what it's going to look like as far as like voice talent.
Yeah.
I'll say this: as much as I love Keanu, I think he's a fantastic person. I like his acting. Um, I loved him in Cyberpunk. He made a perfect Johnny Silverhand, although the character looks nothing like him.
Yeah.
Uh, but, and I also like, Giancarlo Esposito and Idris Elba. But I think they should stick with voice actors instead of throwing massive amounts of money to get like top tier celebrities. I
Yeah.
think they should spend that budget on the game itself, and they shouldn't. And the roles of characters shouldn't have to cater to anyone's star power.
Yeah, but it would be, I think, sweet gesture to Mike if they got like George Clooney's Black Hand.
Okay, you're probably right about that. If Mike is allowing Black Hand to be used in the next game, that would be awesome. We have still at last notice, he's still holding on tightly to Black Hand.
Yeah, and for all we know, that could have been the bribe to make him off Black Hand over, right?
I mean, that would probably do it. He's wanted that pairing for a long time.
Speaking of Mike, I don't know if it's right now or possibly earlier today. Mr. Barefoot was doing an interview. Over 350, 370 questions for Mike. So that thing is is gonna wear him out. He's
Yeah.
got 300
Um,
questions.
I really, if we weren't doing this, I was going to watch it, but
It's not gonna be shown until next week.
oh, is
So
that what's going
yeah,
on?
so it's gonna be pre-recorded by Rob, and then he's gonna
Oh, well, that's much better.
edit
Then
it.
I can listen to it at leisure.
Exactly. So, um, not much going on in media. Nothing I've
Um,
crossed my path.
no, there has really not been much that I've caught like show wise or film wise that we haven't talked about already.
Yeah.
Um, I'm continuing to see positive things about Neuromancer. Uh, did the Blade Runner show ever come out on Apple?
Blade Runner.
The Blade Runner anime that was supposed to come out.
Oh,
Michelle Yeoh is one of the voices. I don't have
oh,
Apple, so I don't have access to
yeah.
this
I don't
stuff.
have Apple either. Um, it wasn't the Black Unicorn. It was. Oh, it was. Oh, like Runner 2090 something or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
At a year. Yeah. No, I haven't done it, but when Neuromancer comes out, that's when I'm gonna be um doing my
Oh,
subscription to Apple.
we've got Edgerunners HQ listening
Yeah.
in. Hey,
Just notice
Jesse
that.
Fur. Yeah, I'll throw out some promo for her. You guys should check out the Advent calendar that she did on Edgerunners HQ. I was reading it every day of December and having a blast doing so. It's good stuff. Plus, she got lots of maps and other goodies.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that really stands out. Let me look.
Well, I mean, the only thing we do have is the announcement for Runners 2, right? But I don't know when that's coming out. I think maybe this year? I'm forgetting this is like beginning of the new year.
Yeah. I still am writing 2025 on everything. It always takes at least like a month or two for me to get right.
Yeah, because last year's just a slog of a year, and it doesn't look like this year's
It's gonna be
getting
it
off any
just
better.
everything gets worse and worse.
Yeah, well, I hate to say sad news in the gaming scene is
Oh yeah.
who don't know. Um, why am I blanking out on his name? Um, ugh. First employee of TSR, Tim. Is it Tim Kask? Or is
I
it Jim
didn't. I haven't
Kask?
heard about this one. Um,
Yeah. Uh, it, Tim Kask. Yeah. Um. So Tim was the first employee of TSR. He kind of was the backbone in the beginning. He also ran Dragon Magazine back when that first came out. So he is kind of one of the founding fathers of Dungeons and Dragons. I think he definitely would be on the Mount Rushmore with Gary and his name too. The creator of
uh,
Dungeons and Dragons. Oh my!
Dave Arneson.
Dave Arneson. Yes.
Yeah, no, I thought you were going to talk about Gene Rob's passing.
Gene
Raved?
Robs passes too, so we've been hit
Yeah,
with a lot of loss from the tabletop community. A lot of
from
the
the old
pedigree.
school, like the founders of it.
Yeah.
I had not heard that about Tim.
Yeah,
That's
actually
news to me, and that sucks.
gamed with him 10 years ago because he used to come to TotalCon. Uh, same with Mike and same with oh my mind's going completely
Okay,
blank.
apparently brain my brain fog is contagious.
Yeah, who did the Metzer, Frank Metzer?
Oh, yeah.
Um, him, Tim, Mike. Got other one. Len Lofcroft was there before he passed. He's one of the old D&D writers. So there was a lot of those old timers who used to go to this con because it was a smaller con than like Gen Con, so they weren't constantly. So they kind of did that convention as kind of like a pleasure convention as opposed to I gotta battle the crowds and you know you all get to where I need to go. But yeah, Gene passed very recently. Those who don't know who Gene is, he basically ran the RPGA, which was the Role Playing Games Association. They did a lot for the community back in the day. And she was kind of the forefront of it. She was also a novelist and wrote for quite a few products. So,
Pretty much everything Artel Sorian put out in the early years.
yeah.
Plus West End Games, Star Wars, fastest BattleTech.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
he was huge. Like she was as huge as Tim, and maybe
Yeah.
more so. She was involved in a broader spectrum of stuff, and the RPG network like that lives on strong today.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So let's move on to something a little
cheery.
better.
Let's talk about
Cheery.
something cheery.
Yeah. So,
The dark dystopian future. Cheery.
so single play. Uh, um, what is it? Why use it? And how can I mean it's dedicated towards red, but uh, I have a feeling you can probably use it for 2022.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was hoping for when I picked it up, and I haven't seen anything in it that wouldn't translate easily over.
Exactly.
Um,
So,
I've wanted something like this forever. So
you
I,
know,
I I talked about it with uh Night Crew Games guy. He just
yes,
said it.
James
Uh,
Portnow,
James Port now.
friend of the
Good
show.
lord. I'm not high. I'm not on any substances.
uh
I have a
huh.
brain
Uh huh.
cloud. I should be taken to a remote island and sacrificed into a volcano. And anybody who gets that joke is old as fuck.
Right. So, single player mode. What is it? Why use it? How can it help you in the game? So, I think it started off as um, people who want to understand how role playing works and basically want to be creative as well as create their own story and
Mm-hmm.
maybe not have any friends around. Um, so um, it is Peter Norton, right, with association of Jay Gray, came up with this system. Peter Peters has a channel dedicated towards solo play. for not only Cyberpunk Red but also other games. That you can check out his site and how he basically approaches solo play, um, and kind of like pokes a story out of yourself.
I thought this was all done by Jay Gray.
No, 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 no.
He's the only one listed as a writer.
No, he's written and designed by Peter Norton and Jay Gray. Editing by Jay Gray. Project management by
Maybe
Jay Gray.
I've got a different copy then.
Oh,
Apparently.
oh, look at you.
Well, I need to update.
Yeah.
My bad.
So yeah. So what it kind of is a way in which you can kind of quickly design various scenarios. Now, maybe, for example, like biggest example is you system for doing downtime adventures, right? So maybe your group's not going to be getting together for like 4 or 5 months because of life, and you guys all decided, hey, Lil, come up with your own little story of what happened or transpired. And as a kid, I think I used to do that. Not necessarily this kind of system, but try to like run through an adventure or a printed module,
Yeah.
on your own, and the old Dungeon Master guide had a table of generating dungeons, and I remember quite a few just sitting down and spending an afternoon just dungeon fighting the monsters that I encountered. Granted, I probably cheated a little during those adventures, but
I mean, I always like I got into the Troll Lord games, Tunnels and Trolls.
right.
That's and for me, there was always my D&D characters doing that. Like somehow I worked that out that I just name them this, and this is what they're doing in the downtime. Is they're doing all this. And there were long stretches where I couldn't game because nobody was around. Like you said, life
Right.
finds a way to fuck everything up.
Right.
So this is a good fix for that. This is what I've been wanting, like I said, for a long time. You can just run your character shopping. You can go on a more grand adventure, but it's all contained in this set of tables. And if you want to use a printed adventure or just like wing it, you can.
Yeah. So the premise, right, is the first thing is the oracle, right? An oracle system is you have a question, different types of question. Will the bouncer take my bribe, right? Is the person I have a bounty on in that bar that I do a bribe, and what's going to happen to me when I go into that, right? So 3 different questions. One is a check question, right? So hey, will this bouncer can I bribe this bouncer, right? So that would be a skill check of some. You have to roll some dice, look at the character, and use and get a clear decision on what happens. And then kind of figuring out a difficulty value to make the pose check something that you have or come up with as needed. And of course, both Red and Cyberpunk 2020 kind of gives you a broad description of the various difficulty levels, right? Easy, average, hard, difficult, very difficult, near impossible. And pardon me if I just rattled off just the 2020 levels, but right now there's So I'm kind of stuck in that mind space, as it were. And then, of course, you have the closed question, which is what's the likelihood that the person is. And of course, the oracle system kind of has a chart that you can use that kind of gives you the various options of whether yes, no, no, but there's complications, yes, but there's complications, or it's complicated, right? Like a person's dating life. Um,
Yeah.
and
I
then,
mean, you mix this up with the character creator, you got everything you need to generate for you to generate character like contacts, your contact list if you're a fixer or anything like that. Your nomad family, you can use these things to interact with them in the downtime
yep,
and flesh them completely out. Like I love these rules. I wish I'd thought of this like 10 years ago.
yeah. So the last question that you can do is basically what's called an open question, right? Is okay, what's going to happen when I enter the bar? And that is kind of where you start getting into the tables in this book. You basically generate a verb, noun, and adjective, right, to come up with the scenario that happens inside that bar. So those are kind of the rules. And this book has a ton. I know of other products that are quite similar when it's generating kind of story prompts. Um, so my wife has a product called the Story Engine, which has something very similar to this, and it's not so much geared towards solo play, but more or less uh, fleshing out a story. And the product, the creator of the product, also knows that this can be used for role playing games as well. So he has kind of designed a system in which not only can stories, but also help with D&D adventures or whatever adventures for your game. Um, yeah, so then I think what it kind of does is goes into what kind of challenges um, that for yourself, whether they are investigation challenges, social interactions, so like are the bribery. If if the investigation is going into the bar and seeing to make sure that the person is there as part of that. And then the last, of course, challenge is combat challenge, uh, firefighting, and also net running. Um, and then lastly, you have what's called the solo play clock. I thought this was a very interesting um, mechanic, right? In which you basically set up the scenes or present yourself with a goal, and during that goal, you have a dice pool that you roll every time you might fail a skill roll. So maybe you need to keep on rolling to try to succeed. And the dice pool gets smaller and smaller. And by the time the dice pool empties, then, you know, the adventure kind of ends, which I thought was
Yeah.
an interesting mechanic. And it really shows, like, oh, this kind of gives a bit of suspense to you're playing playing by yourself in a way.
Yeah. It's a very neat concept.
Yeah.
Um, and like you said, it gives your character even in unplanned play, like there's some anxiety there. There's a sense of urgency, danger, drama.
Yeah. And all of look through the screen because I'm showing you hopefully get into some of the tools that I'm starting to use around since with this. Right. So that's kind of the core thing. Um, and and it really kind of stresses you to kind of like be kind of honest with yourself when doing these. And I even think that this could be considered a co-op play, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like this doesn't it's single player, but it doesn't have to. That doesn't mean you can't like incorporate this stuff as a GM. Like totally. Uh, this is I mean, it at its heart, it's just a list of tables of a random events, people, anything you could want, and it'll. I can see this being a huge help to any GM out there running any iteration of Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Nothing in it is. You could use it for other. You could use it outside the franchise. Like nothing in it is other than some names of stuff is specifically Cyberpunk Red. Like it's not like you're not throwing out
Well,
damage numbers at you really, like in the same way.
there's a little bit of that, right? And how so this version of single player is a little different than what Peter originally designed, right? So Peter, I believe, designed this for kind of be more a little generic, whereas this is now specific towards Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
The charts, sure, definitely, because it has reference names to specific elements within Cyberpunk Red. The also, if you're doing the quick and dirty combat, that system is using Cyberpunk Red terminology as well as system. So trying to get that coaxed into like 2020 is going to take some modifications to get done. Because I think one of the concepts, especially with the how they determine how many rolls get during the quick combat. If you have a reflex over 8 invasion, start dodging bullets, which 2020, yeah, you don't. I think if you're going to convert this over, you have to start looking. Okay, if the player has an SP of 15 or greater, um, it's like will plus body over 16. That's an indication that that character is going to have points. Um, so that doesn't really necessarily overview what could be used with 2020 kind of compensate that, because 2020 you everyone has 40 wounds. Um,
yeah,
Granted, some of you are going to die sooner than others. So
yeah. And the only difference is going to be the slight change that your BTM makes.
right, and that's not um, always great. And then the categories of weapons, right? A luxury weapon also is going to give you a bonus. Probably interpret that to be if the player's using, I don't know, specialty ammo, um, or assault rifles, because you can't really say that they're using common versus ore versus a rare weapon, because in Cyberpunk 2020, a rare weapon is just unique, right? It's not necessarily that it does more damage or has necessarily a greater effect in combat. Um,
True.
that's kind of hard to figure out. Skill levels, yeah. Moves, yep. Move is definitely 20 can be used. Or so this would make a character hardened, which you know that kind of helps define your character is going to be. And then 2020, right? It's very hard to kill a character with an SP of 20 or um, X amount of location. So that's kind of a one thing that you would have to approach. The other concept that quick combat has is the difference between a mook, a lieutenant, and a mini boss and a boss. What you would have to do is get the Night City source book and apply those levels to the threat codes, right? And I think the threat codes would be hard. You would have to, and again, it would take a little bit of play testing, which I have yet to fully do. But I can show you threat codes, right, and what they do. So I have on the screen. I started looking at my site and how I could leverage my site to kind of help with single player around 2020. Not to brag about my site. Granted, I make no money off of it. I lose money on this, but it's 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 helping me look at these rules and like, oh yeah, I could use this to help with this. And again, you don't have to have. I mean, it helps with to have these set of rules in front of you, but like the charts and all those, there are so many people and content creators who created various tables for various things. One of the ones that when I saw this particular game was I was looking at Reality, which is a product off of Drive-Thru, which is very the generic Cyberpunk um, generator of things, right?
Hmm.
Kind of generates whatever you need for your game, which I kind of enjoy, at least the tables. And some of them are very interesting. One thing I don't like tables is it's only a D10 or 12. I like lots of options because to me that gives it a little more playability than just having 12 options and be like, oh, yeah, I rolled a 12, so I know exactly what's this
You know what's
thing
happening at all
is.
times.
Yeah. So, right. So, what I was getting at with the threat. So, I'm going to zoom in into my combat tracker. And on my combat tracker, I have threat codes in which you can actually generate a character. So, you have for a threat code A through E, that just basically tells you their stat plus their skill plus a D10 for any success or anything that particular person is going to do. Then you have what is called weapon availability. The lower the score is, the bigger the weapons they're going to have. And for example, I will put in 2, and then the last one is how much armor they have. So like A is these guys are wearing Metal Gear with like door gunner armor. So usually a C or a D is good. And in my system, I can hit apply and apply that threat code, and then that what that does is sets the stats for the people. It also in the armor section, it tells me what armor they're using. All I have to do is just enable this. I get that showing up in my chart. Weapons, you can see it's just a simple machine gun, a 10 millimeter submachine gun, which is not crazy, but it is definitely. I mean, 2d6 plus 3 has some hitting power to it. And then, of course, you can use whatever stats you are. And then, of course, I reveal the combat stats. Now, my system just generates this as a combat person, but my system also, or this particular opponent thing, allows you to actually generate other skills as you need to. So that's, I think, what we can use in place of like the Mook Lieutenant, Mini Boss, and Boss system is using the threat codes in Night City sourcebook, translating those over. The other thing is like the tactics, right? So the tactics gives you a bit of an advantage. Cyberpunk 2020 doesn't really have anything other than combat. Just optional thing, but not a lot of people have combat sense or a lot of different different. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how you would approach that. Either intelligence, maybe, intelligence checks against
I
your
would just
opponent.
base it off whatever stat is necessary at the time and would
Mm.
apply. Um, but yeah, it's usually going to be intelligence, so like almost always intelligence, empathy. Those are going to be your two big ones.
Yeah, I mean, tactics is a skill in Cyberpunk, but it's not a skill that is used by a lot of people. Um, or at least it's not part of anyone's career or on their radar. And I think that came out in a
It's
different
an expert
supplement.
skill. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't it come out? Oh, I think when it came out, I think it was for the Firestorm series.
Was it? I thought there was one in. I thought there was an earlier version in Chrome Berets.
Maybe that's where it came.
Right.
But yeah, 2020 does not have, or at least if you have the basic book, tactics is a skill in the basic book. Pretty sure it's not the basic book. I have been known to be wrong about things. So, um, if it was in the basic book, I would see
You
a
can.
lot more people use.
Yeah, I've always treated it as an expert skill. Um, Literally anything can be an expert skill. I
Yep.
mean, it's just you have specified knowledge.
Right. And then the system, of course, then determines okay, how many attacks does the party have, i.e., you, versus your opponents. And again, this also breaks down into Mook, Lieutenant, Mini Boss, and Boss. Um, I'm figuring that there's probably a weight value to each of the threat codes you would use. Um, and then you would determine whether or not they're a boss. And well, the hardening, right? So I think the first part of the threat code is the skill level, which would determine whether or not they're local lieutenant or mid boss. Because I believe at highest tier person is rolling a 20 plus the 10 for skill rolls and maybe
Yeah,
additional modifier. Threat levels 1 or A are pretty heinous. And then the hardening would be, you know, the weapon and the armor threat code would help determine whether or not they're hardened. And then, you know, generating speedware, that would just be a. And not only could you use my site, but also in Cyberpunk 2020, you have the quick and dirty or fast and dirty
mm, yeah,
um, generator that you can then use that to kind of generate the cyberware um, for that particular PC. And then you just plug that into this section of single player, and that will help you calculate the number of attacks. And then, of course, in the system, you roll for each attack, determine what the number was, and then compare, contrast to see who was successful and who was. As for like the damage, that is a little difficult. um, because I know this. They talk about how Cyberpunk Red is deadly. 2020
2020 is
takes it to 11.
actually yeah, takes it to
Um,
threat level midnight.
so I think there would probably have to be some work on how to take those results and put it into damage. and not be, oh, you're dead type of damage, right? Um, because one of the things with 2020, right, is roll a headshot, boom, good chance you're going to be
Yeah.
dead. Not
It's
like,
like I've always maintained the difference between Cyberpunk 2020 and every other role playing game out there is it doesn't matter how many fights you've been in, how old your character is, how many people he's killed, how much crap he's got. A 10-year-old kid, a street urchin with a zip gun can still kill him with a lucky headshot.
yeah,
And that's the beauty of the game.
yeah. So I think you would have to come up with some type of value to not necessarily roll damage for each one, but come up with, I don't know, d6. So how many d6s is quote unquote how many damage it does, and then the rate of fire would give it bonus. Um, and then you deduct your against that value, right? For example, if I'm shooting a assault rifle, which is firing 556, that's 5 dice damage. So start off with 5, and then it has a rate of fire of 30. Maybe add that would be then 35, and then you pair the person's armor BTM from that, and that's kind of how much damage that you would have taken if the person did a full auto against you, and
Yeah.
not care about the locations, right? And wave that away. But if you're struck into like mortal wounds, then maybe you say, "Oh, this person lost," or the limb got shattered to took over 8 point damage, and therefore is useless, right? In that aspect. And then of course you would have to make not necessarily make stun saves, but well, if you're continuing, this is. I don't think this does rounds. I think it's just one quick easy. Oh, just you would be so you would have the fallout of whatever amount of damage that particular attack did, and then try to heal from that, or make a death save, right? Which another aspect
Yeah.
of the deadliness of 2020.
Yeah.
Right, or you could say, if you make a death save, then you either encounter else take the full amount die, or take a critical. You lose something on your body. It's a limb, an eye, or something else that has to get by either cyberware or a vat-grown organ, right? So that's kind of like a little bit of what you would have to convert for the quick combat system, to convert it into like 2020. The investigation and the social changes, I think, can be used as is. Just apply the proper skills of 2020 to that, which of course, investigate going to be key. Going to be the top one.
Yeah.
And then there's the quick and dirty net run. So I created a quick and dirty net running system, but it's not for solo play. So I think, and I'm going to pull up my net running tools. Right? Up that. Why are you doing that? Oh, I know. Would be to just take the my data fork designer, and just generate a quick system. And that's even better. So like a CP5, we'd have 5 CPs And granted, you wouldn't necessarily use this map. I mean, you could, but you would have to then come up with a AI system for the various programs and how, if there's a netrunner in the place or not. One of the things that I'm wondering about leveraging it. So BattleTech also just put out a product for solo play or single player, um, which you could also use for cooperative play. But with their system, they have actually a kind of dumbed down AI for how your opponent would face off on things. I'm wondering if that is something that could possibly leverage use for how an AI would approach you and attack you. So you could use this, but from my thinking would be you could take like this map and do what this the red does and say, okay, well, if it has 5 CPUs, you have to make 5 checks. If it has 4 CPUs, you have to make 4 checks. And of course, all the checks are going to be, first thing you have to do is go through the data wall or go through the code gate, and that's choice of your decision. And both the data wall and the code gates can be generated through a D10, and most of them are. I think it's 2D6 and in the random generator 2020. So you can use that to generate the walls. As for the programs, again, you would randomly generate what programs might be in there, and then the netrunner have to face off X amount of program, and then and the other thing with this system is you have to set a goal for what you're going to be doing in data for, right? I am going to liberate the HR files from their database. So you have to have that set goal, and that's where you then do the checks and do the balances. Now, if you say, "Hey, I want to destroy or liberate the database, and then also implant a virus into the system that I have easy access to the system from a terminal," those are two different things, and probably would need additional checks to be made. And for example, like what I'm showing here with 5 CPUs, this particular generation was a generation of 6 different programs. Killer 2, a zombie, a watchdog, a manicore, a crash, and pitbull. I think the biggest threat in that was zombie. So you would then fight a zombie, probably in a later stage. And then, yeah, hey, I want to do 2 things, choose the. And again, you can also take a look at the map and kind of give you prompts for how you want to do, or what skill checks should be made and what skill checks shouldn't be made, right? In this particular fort, you have a kind of anti-chamber with 2 code gates that the person would have to get through. And granted, my generator doesn't drop the CPUs. However, you can always just drop them yourself to kind of set up the data for it. Space is limited. So, always a problem. Because your data units, they need to be. This one, pretty crammed, 5 CPUs. Yeah, so that's one way of doing the quick run. You can also use the book, because my generator uses the random generator from 2020, most of it. So I think that's kind of an easy port over to 2020 versus the combat, because combat is a little more difficult, especially when it comes to outcome damage. What are your thoughts?
Uh, my thoughts are, to this day, 2020 net running goes way over my head. I paid attention to everything you just said, and what I got was zombies are bad, avoid at all costs.
I see.
Yeah,
So
I'm horrible at stuff like conceptually.
you heard blah 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 zombie blah 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 bad blah 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 blah
It
blah
was,
blah
yeah,
blah blah
it
blah
was
blah.
like yeah, like Charlie Brown listening to the teacher.
That's why you're a nomad and I'm a netrunner.
That's exactly why I'm a nomad and you're a net runner.
Right. So again, luckily, I mean, I have this tool, but I'm sure there are other people out there that are creating random generators. So do not do not necessarily have to use my tool, but it is here for your possible use. And the
It
other
will
thing,
help you out greatly.
right? And the other thing with my site is, as a net runner, I can then also work up my trace through here. Um, so, for example, I'm going to be Pacifica, and I'm going to start off in Night City. I'm going to go to Night City. Let's say I started in this square, so the first thing I want to do, head over to the LLD. Why can't I hack this? Oh, there we go. So I can hack, and you can see right away, and hacked. So now I can go up to the world map and go grab some trace. So I can go Denver, hack it, over Boston, hack that, down to Anna, got it. Anna, come on. And I can't hack. To New Orleans, click on it, hack it, and then back to A. Yeah, this. I forgot how long to generate program, but it's. So now I can go back to Night City, and then say, or to Arasaka. The difficulty number I have here is for my system, but I go to Arasaka, then I can go to my data fort generator and do that hack. So I think that's why I like this system, is I can play around with my site better and also probably troubleshoot it a little better. Oh damn, why are these buttons not working? Now I have to put those in my log and be like, okay, the navigator needs to be updated. So yeah, so that's kind of a way in which you can do net running pretty quickly and easily, and net running won't be so bad to people. It takes an automated tool for it. Maybe I'll convert you, Wisdom.
All things are possible.
And then the last section is what we talked about, which were clocks. The one thing I didn't quite get with clocks and failures, if there is a test or a check that a person can they make it over and over? I only did one reading through the single player document. I had to analyze it, but that was one thing that escaped my mind. Is whether or not
I think
check it more than once, even though you failed. Which
I don't see anything preventing you from doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's what the clock is for, right?
Yeah, I think that's Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that's what the clock is for. I think you're running yourself. If you think you're doing something that's hinky, well, it's hinky. You're just ripping yourself off if you cheat on a solo play.
Yeah. You're not making the story interesting.
Yeah, you gotta keep the story flowing, keep it keep it all within reason, uh, just like anything else.
Yeah. Also, some of the art in this book pretty funny.
Yeah, it's uh it's very cool.
Yeah, and then the it gets into mission building, um, which you then start getting into beat charts, um, and kind of generating a beat chart as long um, cliffhangers and various resolutions towards those. Back didn't
I
chart for determining beat charts. There should go. I think there.
This book is 105 pages long. I will say that towards the end, there's some tables where it's just thing one, thing two, thing
Yeah.
three. I don't know what the point of those are.
Well, they're templates, right? To show you.
Sure, but I mean, are they necessary? Can you not just figure this out from looking at the rest of the book?
Well, I think this was to give you a template to fill in, right? I think these pages
If it
is
was, oh, is it? It is edible. Holy shit.
yeah the PDF,
Okay, never mind. I'm an idiot.
so you can put in your own charts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, like Edgerunner HQ says, you're giving people way too much credit. Um,
That's
especially
probably true.
especially when it
Uh,
comes to math.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
the player will never remember any negative penalties.
yeah, so
They'll
there's
remember all their bonuses, but they won't remember the negatives.
50 pages worth of charts, filled in charts that you can use straight out of the box, right? One thing I do like is how they separated out combat zone versus moderate zone versus corporate zone.
Yes.
I think we would have to come up with some charts because we have an additional zone in 2020, um, the executive zone. Or,
Mm.
well, they combine corporate and executive, but I would keep them two different uh, areas.
Yeah, you got the people who are doing okay, and then you got the people who are doing just fine.
Yeah, the leadership board versus the management.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, here it is. The random beat chart. So yeah, you can generate a beat chart. Well, so yeah, and again, a lot of this can be used for 2020
I mean, it
because
can be used for 2020, Cyber Generation, 2013. It probably could be used for Cyberpunk V3. It could be used for Interlock Unlimited. Um, it would be very easy to translate anything in here.
Yeah, because the corporations are there.
Yeah.
Some of the black ice, but again, you use my tool. Um, yeah, and even the cyberware, basically. Uh, Fellow called a tool. Hmm. The Duncan.
Well, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. But...
Well, one of the charts.
Oh, yeah.
Basically
Okay.
has
Yeah.
some
Smoke
of
and
those
get kind of weird.
rockers.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through the various uh, on it. So yeah, I guess you can create a mission with the charts. Um, Chart for the beat chart is down 60, 70, there. Roll by it. Ah, page 74 on my copy. It might be different for other people's copies. um, and those charts allow you to basically generate chin. So you could actually use this to kind of generate
Absolutely.
with the various beats and charts. And what are you going to do? You're going to do an investigation here. You're going to do a combat here. How do you in situation to other and kind of flow that out? So kind of nice. Definitely a great tool to use. Oh, I heard a phrase from James and Rob during their mayor desk station the other day. It's tools, not so. Rule
Yeah.
book is
I
not
like
a
that.
rule book; it's a tool book. So use the tools as you need to. Tool is not working properly for you, or that
Throw it out.
particular tool is not supposed to be used to unscrew that lid, then that is not a tool to use for that situation.
That doesn't mean you can't use that tool later,
True.
but you don't have to use it every time. Let the situation sort itself out. You're the GM. You know what the mood calls for. Uh, and if looking up some obscure rule is going to slow down the game, let it go, man. You can look that shit up later or next time.
Yep. And I think from my point of view, the only thing I would adjust on is some of these tables to have a little more options. Like I said, you have a limited amount of options. Play is going to seem,
It's going to get repetitive.
yeah. Uh, that,
No, but it'll take a while for it to get or even feel repetitive.
yeah.
Um, and there's enough options in the book that even when it starts to feel repetitive, it's never going to be the exact same thing. It's just not. Like, there's so many tables you roll on that you'd have better luck winning the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're doing 2020, I have a lot of tools that might help you with your single play, from various map generators to gang generators to club generators. Um, I, they are not AI, so there are limits to what's being done. A lot of the tools I tried to use were kind of out
Right.
of the box book type of things. So
At some point, what we need to do is go over your site with a fine tooth comb on the channel, like a whole series of videos where each one of your random generators gets its own highlight.
yeah,
And
I've been
yeah,
thinking about um,
a random generator for tutorials. I like that.
but
This random generator teaches you how to use our random generator.
well, the thing is, either I can be working on the site, right, to enhance it, or I can be on my campaign then coming up soon that we're, or I can watch some TV or spend some quality time with the wife.
I mean,
So
priorities, man. It's all about the site. It's all about the
yeah,
game.
I know. There was 30 days and 30 hours in a day, and I was independently wealthy to be able to do what I would love to
Amen to
do.
that.
Um, because on top of all the stuff I do, I also have a day job, which requires not only working there but also the commute. Got like an hour and a half drive. Luckily, I only, but still, 9 hours
That sucks, man.
of
That
car.
sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to spend that much time in the car unless they're going to a convention. Then I'll spend all that time in the car and enjoy it.
Well, I could take the train, but that's 3 hours each way.
No, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, so that's 18 hours um, of a commute every week. Just a day worth of my time lost by being on a train. Sure, I'll be able to write more, but yeah, I'd rather take the car because sometimes I can save some time off of the hour and a half. I,
I agree.
yeah.
PWV, a guided tour of the site would be awesome.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then we could do mine at some point. And then we can branch out and do other people's sites that are still around.
Yeah. Well, because this is single play, it's definitely a area in which what tool. So to advance our topic, I can show you the tools that are here that'll help um with your single player mode, as it were. But just a quick brief, data. Data is where you can find all the listings of the various items, corporations, weapons, roles, skills, all of that stuff. So each one is a chart. So if you need to look up anything, you can find it here. I don't go into a lot of details here. You have to buy the product. Luckily, I list the product and the page number, so you can use that. Mods are just my own homebrew rules that you can look at, use if you like. Not going to worry about it. Shop. This is some old stuff in which I designed some homebrew gear and equipment. Peeps are some of the NPCs I've used, and corporations and nomad packs and gangs in my campaigns. So I wrote them up here. You can always use them. Gigs are some of the scenarios I created. Prometheus Chronicle I should update because it still continues even to this day. But I haven't updated it yet. But there's 2 adventures there that you can download and play with. And there's the apps, right? So the apps, whether it's 2020 or Red, those are kind of where I will get into how to use them for single play. Apps, Combat Zone. So there's an app for the Monster Fight Clubs game called Combat Zone. It is a generator to allow you to create units for you to play with it. I'm a big fan. Delos are kind of like assets that I have up here that you can download images of Night City. So, like custom images, my own 2020 sheet, as well as a referee screen that you can print out. Granted, you have to supply your own cardboard. And I also did a short story. I have another short story I have, and I'm debating whether to put it up there because it's a little darker for Cyberpunk. But then again, I look at 2077 stuff, and it's like, wow, geez, I'm not that dark. Um, LDLs are basically links. I probably have to clean this up because some of these sites are gone. Mockery. And then I also have a list of various YouTube sites to go check out that are kind of like actual plays, tutorials like uh, Cybernation Uncensored. And I think Mad Queen Show, she's gone. Took down her site. So, anyways, getting back to single play. So, in a little bit of a prep, I kind of decided to pull out some of my tools, and I was actually gonna maybe go through how you can use these. So, the first tool for 2020 is that I would use is the character generator. So the character generator is character generator for 2020. I do not have a generator for red because I don't want to step on the toes of the Cyberpunk Red Companion app. So I've kind of refrained from making my own version of it, just because I'd rather not, I'd rather do my own thing and have my own area. So with this generator, there's no big red button to generate the whole character, but I do have random generation in the various sections, right? So for your handle, you can generate a name, angle. I can also generate a class I want, so a sniffer, which is the type of fixer. If I want to roll, well, the other thing about these dice is they'll actually roll the dice for you. So this character has a rep of 1, and this will show me the results of that die roll. So this is kind of useful for doing single player, right? Because you can create your character here and then roll dice as you need to. Character point generator. So here I can generate the various character points. Underneath stat, I can then randomly assign that pool of stats to them. The initiative will roll an initiative score for you. With the stats, you can actually click on it, add bonuses to that stat to kind of improve it. There is no automation between cyberware and gear that'll update some of these stats, but the wounds will. So it's kind of like a virtual tabletop, but you're not sharing this with anyone. I do not have network support. And again, here you can, mark off your wounds, determine, hey, I got a death save. So I got a death save at 6. I try to roll it. I roll. I give myself any bonuses. I rolled a 6 versus a 6, so I'm still breathing. Rolled 7, I would probably be dead. But I also have to make a stun save, so I can also roll that. Lo and behold, 8 versus 3, I am stunned, so I lose the next turn. And as you can see, the more damage you take, it's going to impact your skill or your stats. Here,
This shit's amazing.
yeah. So here is similar to the character sheet, in which you can have your armor. These areas, there's actually a different section for armor, but this will do all the calculations for your armor automatically. You also have the capability of adding in, maybe I'm hiding behind cover, SP. Interesting. That's a bug. Why is there 2 extra points there? All right. Another bug. That's why I'm going to love single player, because it allows me to go and test these things. SDP manager. So, for example, if I have a a cyber arm. I can put in the values, right?
He's got, for the people who are just listening, uh, he's showing you all this stuff on video, but he's got like tables for all this stuff. Uh, he's put in just a tremendous amount of work.
And in the skill section, you have the ability to show kind of like how many role skill points you have versus how many secondary skill points you have. The skills will actually deduct. So if it's highlighted in yellow, I'm sure this is a bad color for colorblind people. I hope it's not, but I have a feeling it is. Probably need to address that. Luckily, I'm making profit on this, so I don't think, and I'm not a business, so I don't necessarily have to do it. But I'd like to comply with every ordinance. Anyways, so because I'm a sniffer, Street Deal is my main special ability, but I can also put in, for example, if my past I get family, or I get another secondary special ability, I can add them. This was originally a netrunner who had five skill points, and that's why the secondary skills are showing 35, because that skill is not one of my role skills. And then, similar to the sheets, I've broken down all the skills, and skills are from pretty much all the various supplements. So it's kind of an exhausted list, yeah. But you're also able to like trim down what you want to see by just showing only skills that have your ranks in it. So that way, once you've filled out all of this, you now have your skills that then you can say, okay, I need to roll a programming skill. I rolled so I have a 4, my stat is a 3. I rolled a 14 because I rolled a critical, which brings me to a total of 21. If a skill, for example, if a piece of gear has a modifier to it, right? So I can say like electronic brain gives me +2 to programming. I can also determine whether it's a chip skill, if it's a specialty skill, what value, so how many ranks do I have in it, how many IPs are required for the next level, what is the IP modifier, so programs it starts off at 1, and then I can put in the specific IPs. So if I put in 40, I can now advance this skill by 1, and then that shows me 40. I don't necessarily have anything that automates the clearing of the skills, but so that's skills. Again, you can also check whether or not it's a chip skill, right? By just checking it there. You can also add in your IP directly into that area, so that way you can do that, and you have the ability to add in your own custom skills as well. For example, here, adding a new intelligence skill. Come up with a name. Sub skills are like the main skill would be like a martial arts would be the name of the skill, and then sub skills would be like the various styles. Same with like language. There's not a lot of skills that are like that, but they help you. Then we come to the weapon section. So in the weapon section, I'm going to just remove some of these weapons. I have the capability of rolling up, randomly choosing some weapons. I can also come down here, and maybe I love my Volt pistol. So I can find my Volt pistol and then add in some options. So what else do I want? Volt pistol. Well, it's not a brass catcher. Yeah, we'll go with the list. And then, of course, I can then add in however many mags I need to this weapon, also giving it notes, and of course, changing anything here I need to. Then I just hit save those changes, and now I have that bolt pistol. So with the Volt Pistol, I come over to Weapon Accuracy, and I can roll. So it's stat. I didn't have any skill. 1, I got a 5 plus. And then I can also roll for damage as well, which will also tell you the location. If you want to really get into combat, there is the combat calculator. The combat calculator will choose what gun you're using, this character, and then you can quickly add in what the target is. Orange, silhouette, tracker's modifier, fast drawing, weapon, weapon. I can add in other modifiers, and then I can roll the dice, and it's going to be versus the difficulty. Point blank, so if I go to long range, I have a 23. There's a good chance I'm never going to hit unless I score a crit. Yeah. My ammo's out, so I can always go in and reload that weapon. So, allows you to kind of track your weaponry. All of this has some configurations. So, for example, here for the random generator, I can say I only want pistols and melee weapons. This is what it's currently set. This category, and I can check, what other types I want. So this is just for the random generator. I can also set how many weapons get generated. So if I remove all these, I should get 3 weapons generated. That's just the weapons area. And also you can track how much ammo you have. Then the character generation, or the armor generation. Here, let me just remove all the armor. I have the capability of generating a bunch of different types of armor. Some of it might be overlapping. So, for example, I would be wearing my shades. I would be wearing a bodysuit. Definitely have my armored boots on and tunic. And you can see that there's only one particular area. So, all right. So this will, of course, go up to the top, show you the armor that's in a particular place. So that's the armor section. Nice. And again, if you need to add new armor, you do a lookup. For example, Gibson Battle Gear. I have a jacket of that. And you can also create your own type of armor by choosing the SP, the quality. So a lot of this is the Chromebook 4, in which it kind of broke the system for armor. But you have it here. So cyberware, just like all these other sections, you have the capability of randomly generating a piece of cyberware for yourself. This random generation is a little more intelligent for choosing, right? So I kind of assumed, well, you're going to want a narrow processor. You're going to want these specific cyberware because, but again, you can go into the particular cyberware. It gives you all the various information, and of course, you can always create your own. With the surgery cost, the humanity cost, here I can just generate the humanity loss I got, giving any notes associated with it, and then for this particular one, which is Cyber Socket, or chipware socket, you have the capability of adding in chipware as you need to. And you can also get rid of chipware by just dragging and dropping over as you need to. So, as you see, current options are 6. And this this, if the cyberware has options, this is where you kind of see the options. This isn't really configurable for options. It's more or less out of the book. So just keep that in mind. Then you have just random gear. I didn't necessarily have a random generator for gear because gear is often very specific. But I can add a location. So for example, if I want to start storing stuff at my apartment, I can add an apartment section. Why did that button go away? Not because of the screen size? Okay. That's not good. Oh, there's the backpack. Oh, apartment generated. Never mind. There already is an apartment. That's why you're not seeing the plus. Silly me. How about the AV? There you go. So each location allows you to store your equipment, right? And again, with equipment, you just give a name. And this, of course, is pulling from the various Chromebooks, so you can do a quick lookup. This isn't as complex of a section as like the cyberware or weapons, because gear is not that complex. Right? Next, you have cyberdecks and programs. Similar, you just fill out your cyberware or your cyberdeck, or you can choose from the various cyberdecks. This does not allow you to have multiple cyberdecks, which probably you should be able to, but never got it. And then you have your area in which you can create your own programs. My site does have a program creator, so it kind of gives you does all the calculations for you. And then once you have a deck and some programs, you can then just move over your programs into your deck, so you know what ones you have, and then you can also mark which ones you have active. Vehicles isn't that great. I've been meaning to adjust it. This actually allows you to add in more vehicles. So it's just an input. It doesn't necessarily do any calculations compared to, I do have a maximum metal calculator, but I haven't integrated it into the character sheet, though I should. That's something that's eventually going to come. I have an area for your character to keep track of their finances and their lifestyle. For example, like getting an apartment, 2-room type apartment, to go to the moderate zone. If I want to give like a description, right? And Haywood is not a moderate zone. And how much it would cost for the various utilities. And it kind of gives me a cost per month. And also I can keep track of my money, either through credit chips or cash, how much I get for a salary, if there's any services I use, for example, like a credit chip account, what groceries I might have on standby. If I want to do any haggling for prices, there's a section here for that. And then identities kind of allows you to have different identities. And this is more lore. So you can add in your SIN, you can add the entity's name and give a description for it and save it. Contacts, so if you are a fixer, this is where you can generate. Why is this not showing? So I am a sniffer, so I should be able to see all those sections. Interesting. All right, I gotta find out why. But for contacts, this section should be showing the fixer's contact stuff. So if you need contacts, you can always go to the utility that I have for generating contacts, and that's something I'll show you later. And then, of course, life path. Here I can choose a particular life path. For example, the one from Protect and Serve. I can now generate a cop that'll give me all the specific life events, and then any of the other stuff that are pulled from that one source. If the source doesn't have, for example, style section or a custom style section, then I'll default back to 2020. And even though this reverts back to 2020, this did generate the cop. I also have IU stuff, so you can actually change this into a Interlock Unlimited character sheet as well. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, and then of course notes, because every character always wants notes.
Yeah, gotta have notes.
Yep, you have the capability of saving this, so this will save it as what's called a JSON file. So it is a clear text or plain text file that you can actually look at. You understand JSON, then understand it, but you need to save the JSON because this allows you to import. So I can click on this import button and import. I can't import an image, but I can import that JSON file back. I do have a description on kind of some of the sections and how to use them. So you do have a help section. And then, of course, the benefit is you can always download this as a PDF, all filled out with all the sections you filled out.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. And you can also add an image if you want to. There we go. Good old wisdom. So that's a character generator. So for a single player, you would generate your character. Next step is you would probably want to get into or start generating a story. So let's kind of do that. So what I would need for a story is maybe I need to head to the combat zone. So I head over to my combat zone generator, and the charts that are used here are from the Night City sourcebook, random charts. So basically, the map itself is auto-generated, and they all vary in sizes. So no two maps are always going to be the same. The block shapes are mostly the same, but anyway, so in block 1, I can now take a look at what these buildings are. So I have a renovated mini mall occupied by a nomad pack, and it is being used as a dance club by that nomad pack. So that's that building. Next building is an abandoned bar and club that is empty, which is this tall building. So I can now create an area. And then, for example, all right, maybe I'll find a location here. Abandoned small building is being used as storage. And maybe I have to break in D on block 4. So block 4 is over here. All right, so my character, Engel, who's a sniffer, needs to take a look at that. Let's see what's around on the streets. So I'm going to roll on the objects. To see what's there on the street. So there's a dumpster, parked car locked down, billboard sign, a crashed AV. Oh, that's fun. Several vending machines, because been to Night City 2077, there is a hell of a lot of vending machines and a lot of trash. There's a air blimp floating above as I approach the building. For events, say I'm going in at the evening. Maybe I just want 2 events to maybe happen or see what's there. So around the neighborhood, there's currently 2 booster packs. And again, I can see what they have. They'll hassle any attractive PCs. And am I attractive? What is my attractiveness? I am attractive 9, so they are going to harass me. That group is going to harass me. The other ones, if you look soft, the gangers will try to rob you. So here's two events that now we can go into the single player mode and say, okay, I'm gonna talk to this first gang and see if I can prevent them from bullying me. Wow, a sniffer with a cool of 2. Wow, intelligence of 3. I'm borderline. How am I walking the streets with a intelligence of 3? Oh, I know. Going up to two booster gangs. But my empathy is 8, so that's good. Skills, I don't think I have any empathy skills. I should have filled them out. As a sniffer, I would probably have like fast talk. So I would roll against my 8, figuring out, okay, it's these from the description, they're 5 street punks. They're looking to rob somebody who's soft. They're equipped with medium handguns, knives, and booster wear. So maybe I would say it's, a difficulty of 15 average, right? Because I'm known in this neighborhood, so they might be, just bugging me. So if I roll an 8, or I roll fast talk, I roll a 3, I have a skill of 4 plus my empathy of 8, 12, so that's a 15. So I'm able to avoid this. Now this other gang could be looking to shake me down. So this is another social area in which I would do another roll. So as you can see with single player, I was able to come up with 2 events right here. So that's with these tools. Or maybe I want to find out, okay, what is this booster gang? Who are they? So I'm going to go to one of my other tabs and go to my generator, and I have a gang generator. So I have 2 gangs that are approaching me. So I'm going to put in 2 and give a roll. So the first gang is Ash Soldiers. There's about 6 to 10 members. They're poser gangs, walking in someone else's shoes. The gang was found about 1 to 4 years ago with an average. So these are street punks, 13-year-olds. They control 1 city block with influence in 4 to 6 citywide.
Never ever trust children in role playing games. Ever.
So the Ash Shoulders are this gang that from the various combats that have been happening down in
That's a pretty cool name,
South
by the way.
Yeah, down in or in their area, there was a couple buildings that were burnt, and these are the kids that kind of like had no parents, were orphaned, and the building burnt, and they came out of the ashes. So that kind of could be the first gang we're encountering, and like half of the gangs there. Medium handgun, knives, booster. Well, the booster doesn't quite make sense, but they're wily kids. They know how to get things done. And they got a drunk rubber dockle install whatever they want to them. And again, the medium handguns could be, a plastic Wonder 9, as it were. So they probably bought this gun from one of the vending machines that's on the street here. So I'm approached by these little kids that are all covered in ash. And maybe like red paint to give the dark contrast. They come up to me looking to shake me down, like, because I am a fixer. I might use my cool and intimidate, or my rep, to kind of try to do a showdown on to make them back off. But I could also say to these kids, hey, you don't know who I am? I'm Engel. I can owe you guys a favor, and trust me, it's a favor you probably, because I can find anything, because I'm one of the up and coming greatest sniffer in Night City. Although that sounds weird, sniffer.
Yeah.
The other
Nice.
gang is the Skinny Faces Mob, a large 26 to 50 members puppet gang. Oh, they're corporate controlled youth. Um, so they're around 19 years old. So they're a little more, I think, more brash. And they're not looking to make any deals. So, uh, yeah, they're looking to shake me down and looking for a fight. So I have to try to avoid them. Possibly calling out the Ash, right? Making the deal with the Ash soldiers. So like, hey, you see those guys over there? I need you to cause some bit of trouble. Here's some eddies. Um, so that's kind of like where I'm at. And again, I'm looking at abandoned storefront um, to try to check that out. So, however, I don't know what's guarding anything. So I go over maybe yeah. All these buildings are burnt out. Yeah. That makes perfect sense for the Ash soldiers. Wow, look at that story. Already been, coming together.
Yeah,
Um
that's pretty
however,
effective.
yeah. So however, maybe I want to go over to this dance club to find out a little more information about that storefront. So went to the gang generator. So now I can go over to my club generator. So I want to see what this club is. Pleasure Lemonade Club. Nice. A punk bar controlled
I
by a
like your
corporation.
naming system. Like honestly,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not AI either. So there's going to be some crazy names. Like the Blue 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 or some other thing that doesn't make sense. But you can, if you're smart enough, you can always make those notes. Fuck. I got about 10 minutes, all right. So it has live band for music, known for its LGBTQ plus friendly attitude. The bar usually holds. Wow, this is packed at 150% right now when I'm walking in, so probably can't even hear myself. The crowd is individualistic and xenophobic about newcomers. Oh, xenophilic, which means they like newcomers. The bar is open to the public with anything legal dress code. Wow. Has sharp, severe, several bouncers, cameras. Oh, so it has sharp security, several bouncers and cameras there. Going back to, hey, I need to talk with or get into that bar, which then again, which again gets me back to the single player chart, right? And uh, do this quick. Get a verb.
that's what's happening.
Two is a glitch, so the verb is a glitch. The noun is 4, which is signal. So glitch signal, and the adjective is 51. A glitch, an isolated glitched signal. What does that mean? Yeah, so that's isolated glitch signal. That sounds fun. Yeah, so I approach the bar. Is corporate owned. So maybe I'm on some type of corporate list and bouncer is not going to let me in. However, I might have to have a meeting in here, or right. So I have to figure out how to get around these bouncers and avoid these cameras to try to get around. So I would probably make stealth check, pick lock check, maybe some basic tech. So, and And I already showed you guys the data fortress. So those are two other tools that you can use. Um, yeah. So the other tools in here is an ACPA generator. I'm not going to go over this too much. But basically, it allows you to create ACPA, or choose a ACPA power armor. And that way you can download it and then print it to PDF. So that way you can throw it on your table as a GM and start using it. The other tools, so we went over character generator, club generator, combat tracker. So the combat tracker you probably would use in the single player. It allows you to get opponents. You can also upload your character, so that your JSON file, into this list. So that way you can track them and then throw in the opponents, and then you can start rolling initiative for all of them. And of course, I can change the order on where they appear, and then I just click on whichever one I need to. And then I could generate a bunch of opponents and then just start doing an initiative. So that's the combat tracker zone. We went over that. Data Fort Designer, again, kind of went through that for single player for the quick netrunner rules. Drug labs, this allows you to create drugs specifically from the 2020 book. And yeah, so most of these generators, I have a link to the product. Support our Talsorian, please. If without them, we wouldn't be having more product. The fashion generator is kind of already built in the character generator, but you can generate a bunch of clothes as needed. So I can say, hey, I want 7 pieces of clothes, and then it just generates all of it with the costs and any additional options. So that's fashion generator, fixer calculator. So this is where I was like, why is these options not showing? So the fixer calculator is the one. So I have a street deal of 4. This is all being used for the wild side stuff. So I can start generating contacts. And each contact, if you know the system, I strongly suggest go purchase Wildside. I think it's a great tool, even for red.
It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite 2020 books.
So if you hover over some of these sections, it'll kind of give you like the capability as a skill check of 10 plus a D10. So if you need that person to do something for, or that contact to do something to you, that's their number. Seldom. So this is actually a luck roll to see if they're around, and when you need them, what their reputation is. So this is more or less how good they are at the field you've chosen them. And granted, all this has contact here, but you would fill this in as like, a data broker, a government official, etc. Reliability is, you know what? Are they really going to help you? Reliability is, they're probably not, they're going to help you, versus unreliable person is, they'll backstab you. And then if you know the system, you have a point cost. And so there's 2 systems to contacts and Wildside, Hot Stuff and Big League. This particular tool allows you to generate both. Fixers, gang generator we already did. Headline generator. So this allows you to kind of quickly generate a bunch of headlines. And they're kind of prompts, right? This definitely does not, these headlines do not always work well. Discovery delays militaries. So you definitely have to do some work to fix that. But it's there if you need quick prompts for like a headline.
I mean, I can see that being a headline in the finance section.
Yep. Life generator. This one is a little different than the character generator in that you can choose a source, roll in one section, choose a different source, roll in a different section, and all those sources change.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
But for one of the bugs is it'll clear out if there's no ethnicity, it'll clear it out. But it allows you to at least quickly generate a life path without have to going for each path. And then you have the maximum metal generator. This is probably my oldest tool. If not, then it is the
I
second
remember this
oldest.
back in the 90s.
Would be late 90s. So here you can actually generate, like, I want to do a main battle tank, and I can start, making the modifications as needed. Um, yeah, this is not as friendly as it was, or it should be. It's a lot of point and click, but you can add in various weaponry onto it, then add. And this will also limit you on like spaces you have, etc. So you can actually build out vehicles. You can also build out a car if you want. So you don't necessarily need a main battle tank unless your campaign is that. And that's kind of all the 2020. Red is basically kind of similar generators, but I have like the bodega generators, which is from the main book, so I can quickly generate a night market, a bodega, and various vendor machines, which of course you could always use with the city builder because you can always plug those in. So the other thing is the jumpstart kit. So here you can generate a quick jumpstart kit character. This is the jumpstart kit, so do not think it's going to have everything there. The dating generator. So there was that DLC, which of course is here. I probably should put a link to the interface that this is at, so you can generate your date as you need to. And again, you can use these probably for red or 2022. Yeah, so the gang generator is the same life path generator, and I made the crossover between the two so that way some people who just only go to the red panel and avoid 2020. There are tools that can still be used. Yeah, so you have two generators. One is the jump kit or the core book. You can actually generate your life path. Again, I'm not going to be creating a character generator for red because I don't want to step on the campaign's toes. The other thing is I have a net arc generator as well, so I can. What's going on? Difficulty. Put in a standard. Floors 10, and then we just roll to see what our net architect. Fun thing in here is if you go to settings, you can actually change colors. So if you don't like the colors that I have for default, they're just a click away to make something you want ready. Go. Text. Go green. Put darker. So you can make it look pretty, and then of course it gives you all the different floors, what you encounter with each. This has not been supplemented with any of the new DLC stuff or any supplements with new programs, so this is probably needs to be updated.
How much of the 2020 stuff have you actually entered into these in like terms of gear?
So for 2020, I think I used your site, right? So 2020. Red is different, right? So red, I'm not. I should be keeping up on it, but I'm not. And really, it's one of those things on my list that next to doing tutorials. But here you can also generate things as SVGs or a PNG. So you can save it in different types of image formats as well. Which, of course, with the PNG, you can upload it to Roll20 and your little data for it. Yeah, in the night market, and then of course the weather. The weather, I can generate weather for the week. There's only red right now, but I was thinking of possibly pushing like a Cyberpunk 2021 as well. And of course, I can always print out this calendar as well, so I can have at my table a list of all the upcoming weather for the week. So that's kind
all
of it.
very, very cool.
Yep. So a lot of tools for you to use with single player. And use these to help you. And I kind of like showed you the tools, how I use them. And please explore my site. I might go over into a little more details of the other parts. Maybe talk about like the different peeps and their kind of background stories. If you guys are interested in that, lore for your own characters. And someone did use one of my characters as an NPC, one of my peeps, Papa Doc. He was my main character for quite a while. So, yeah. So, anything else we talk about?
Not that I can think of. I think we covered everything in the book, and then we definitely like took a huge chunk of tutorial from your site.
Well, and how to use it with single player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy. Again, there's a bunch of links on the various tools to the products that they're part of. I strongly suggest looking at those products because I don't put all the details in these generators, so there's a little more nuances to some of it that you definitely want to look into and read about. And support Artal Saurian because I've been doing it for the past 30-ish years.
Mm-hmm.
I continue to do it.
Agreed. They're the reason we gather.
Yeah. So
the reason we do this podcast.
With that said, I think we can close out.
All right.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Appreciate the love and glad you enjoyed the little tour of my site and the tools that you can use it for. Again, I do not charge any money. I do not have a Patreon or any of that. So these are free tools for the community. They've been here for a couple decades. So they're for the community and what I have for this community as well as the game. So anyways, I'm Cyber Smiley. You can check my site out at cybersmiley.net, which hopefully you just saw. All the various wonderful utilities and other components. There's other little stuff in there that you can find. Please explore, check it out. I also have a Discord for my site, and we have a small community, but I think it's good, and it's a place where I allow people to report any bugs or enhancements they'd like to see in the site. Granted, my backlog list is long. Still get the things. And yeah, you can. And I'm also on a lot of various Discords. I don't think I'm on Edgerunner HQ's Discord yet. I need to go and sign up on that and hang out there. But I am on a lot of the West March servers, as well as our Talsorian site, my Monster Fight Club, and the 2 card games, board game Discord, and some of the Cyberpunk 2077 Discords.
I mean, don't forget to mention your own private your own Discord, Cyber Smiley.
Just did.
We've got it. Yeah. All right. Sorry. We've got at least 3 professional, 3 former Artal writers who hang out with us there.
Yep. And of course, I'm on Cybernation Uncensored, our wonderful host and uh, social media mentor, as it were, or at least our live streaming mentor. Um, I'm also on there. Reddit, I'm on the 2020, the Red, Threads, and a few others. So you can find me out there. And then I'm also on Blue Sky. I'm Cyber Smiley at Blue Sky. Some other things on that, but yeah, I don't post much lately. I used to try to post meme of the day, but my memes kind of dried up after like 40 or 50 of the ones I generated. Um, yeah, I know. I gotta sit down and like get those creative juices again. It's again one of those lists of many things that I would love to have be independently wealthy to be able to schedule more time on all those wonderful.
Amen.
So that's me.
And I am Derek Bernier, Wisdom000. I run DataFortress2020.com, which hosts, for which I've written just a huge amount of gear, lore, rules, including Interlock Unlimited. And I also host an incredibly large archive of fan-created material, like
Yeah.
just ridiculously large. Like we're talking thousands of files. You can also catch me on Discord, including at the Cyber Smiley Discord, along with pretty much all the other main Cyberpunk related Discords for both the tabletop franchise and the video game. You can find me on Facebook, where I also am an owner admin for the Data Fortress 2020 group, and I'm a moderator for the Cyberpunk 2020 group and Cyberpunk Red, or Cyberpunk Uncensored. You can find me on. I have a Twitter account finally, but I don't use it. I have a Blue Sky account. I check it very infrequently. Same with Instagram. I had to get these to track down some of the owners of files that I was spending months tracking down. I'd like to thank all of you for listening. I'd like to thank Rob Mulligan and Cybernation Uncensored for hosting us. And I want you all to be safe out there. It's getting dangerous. Please join us again on what week are we doing this again?
It is the first week of February, so it's Wednesday the 4th.
Wednesday the 4th. Wednesday the 4th of February. Come join us again. We look forward to seeing you.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. Everyone.